Jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. They've been underway now for more than 7 hours. Joining us, Michael Hart, defense attorney with Hart Powell SC. Attorney Hart, great to have you back. I want to ask you about a moment in the courtroom from this morning. The judge had Kyle Rittenhouse pick names out of what looked like an old drum to pick the alternates. Those are the people who are not on the jury. Have you ever seen it done like that before?
Never. I think the one thing that this trial has taught us is to expect the unexpected. The way Judge Schrader runs his courtroom is unique.
How is it usually done? How's that process usually handled?
Generally, whether it's a tumbler, a bingo spinner, or a hat, the clerk of court will stick her hand in and take out. Normally, we don't see this number of alternates, right? Generally, a jury will impanel 14 or 13 people, so you have one or two alternates that are picked out by the clerk at the conclusion of the trial. That's generally how it works.
What's your take on this? I don't want to call it controversial, but it's certainly unusual, and the judge has a lot of eyes on him. He's made some headlines throughout the trial. Doesn't this open him up to some more criticism since he's doing a process that nobody's really ever seen before?
Yeah, knowing this judge, I don't think he's too much worried about criticism. He doesn't like it, but he's accustomed to it over his time on the bench. He's a little unorthodox, to say the least, and I think the whole country got to see it in full display the last couple of weeks.
Would you consider it inappropriate having Kyle Rittenhouse pick the alternates?
I don't know that's inappropriate. I mean, you know, any error should be on the side of the accused. That's Mr. Rittenhouse. He's the one with the right to a fair trial. So he puts his hand in and he pulls out. I don't know how you could rig that. I don't find much in that. It's sensational and a little unorthodox, but to me, it's no big deal.
Yeah, and it was all done in front of the cameras. No one's saying it was rigged. It didn't peek inside or anything, but certainly something that a lot of people think is unusual. All right, let's talk about the deliberations. 7 hours now. The jury's still in that room. I've never sat on a jury before. What's happening inside of that room right now?
Well, in that respect, we have a lot in common. I've never been on a jury either. Not to many. The first thing they do when they go in is they select a four-person. From talking to juries, my sense is they probably take an informal poll, just what does everyone think right out of the box before we discuss the evidence. But there's a lot to digest. There are a lot of verdict forms. There's several counts. There's multi-layers in the counts. They got a lot to talk about.
We haven't heard a lot from the jury today. I mean, the only time we hear from them is if they have a question to the judge. They've asked for copies of the jury instructions. It's now been 7 hours. Can you read into anything based off of that?
I try not to read into juries. You get yourself into trouble. I don't think there's anything unusual about jurors asking for individual copies of the instructions. I think that's probably wise to provide them. Each person's got to be certain that they understand what the law is, what the judge has instructed them, and so when they ultimately decide on each count, it's based upon the law as instructed them by the court.
$1 million question. When do you think we'll see this wrap up?
That's a question without an answer, certainly without a precise answer. If the jury is doing their job, and I suspect they will, it could take some time.
We'll leave it at that. We appreciate you, Michael Hart, an attorney, a defense attorney, a long time in our community. Thank you for joining us.